In the previous video, we have defined project stakeholders as individuals, groups, or organizations, and how they can influence or get impacted by a project. Now, let us understand more about stakeholders and life cycle of stakeholder management. Firstly, stakeholders are identified in the project. Activity of identifying the stakeholders should be done right from the initiation of the project. Most of the high-level stakeholder information like client, end users, sponsor, project manager might be available from the project charter or business case. Identifying the project team and the resources is an obvious and simple next step. Stakeholders who are not directly connected with the project are difficult to identify. Skills and tools like brainstorming, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, alternative analysis, cause-effect analysis, decision-making, etc. will help identify and analyze stakeholders. As a best practice, stakeholder register should be used to document the identified stakeholders and stakeholders analysis details like classification according to their needs, expectations, urgency, degree of influence, interests, power, impact, risks, etc. Stakeholder register is a live document and becomes a source of lessons learned for other projects in future. Stakeholder analysis involves systematically gathering and analyzing the stakeholders qualitatively and quantitatively, such as salience model, grid analysis, stakeholder cube, influence matrix, etc. New risks may be identified leading to opportunities and threats. Based on the analysis, prioritize the stakeholders. Stakeholder engagement and communication go hand in hand, they are mutually inclusive. In this context, let us understand how the communication channels are established with the stakeholders. For n number of stakeholders, the number of communication channels is calculated using the formula. If there are 2 stakeholders, the number of communication channels will be 1. For 3 stakeholders, the number of communication channels will be 3. For 4 stakeholders, the number of communication channels will be 6. The number of interactions or channels increases exponentially and may be too complex as the number of stakeholders increases. A group of stakeholders may interact with another group of stakeholders and influence them positively or negatively on the project outcomes. In addition to the project manager's knowledge, analytical, interpersonal, and leadership skills play a major role on how the stakeholders are identified, analyzed, and engaged. Engaging stakeholders is through communication, which can be verbal, nonverbal, written, formal, informal. Focus on communication modes like push, pull, and interactive also needs to be considered along with the noise or disturbance in the medium of communication. Communication management, in detail, can be viewed as a separate subject will be covered in another video. Stakeholder Engagement Assessment Matrix is an important tool for engagement. Effectiveness of stakeholder engagement needs to be analyzed. As the stakeholders come in and go out, and their impact on the project may vary from time to time, should be tracked efficiently. Stakeholder satisfaction can be measured through questionnaires, surveys, Net Promoter Score, mood charts, one-to-one meetings, general meetings, observing behavior and traits, trends, morale, mood, etc. Necessary actions can be taken to achieve higher stakeholder satisfaction. To summarize, stakeholder management revolves around identification, analysis, prioritization, and engagement as the stakeholders are an important and integral part of a projects which are executed for the people and by the people.